6 o'clock news starts right now.
It has been 3 days since anyone has seen or heard from Suzanne Simpson. The mother of 4 was last seen late Sunday night, and we've learned more today about what police believe happened before her disappearance.
We've also learned her husband, Brad Simpson, arrested this morning on charges of assault, family violence, and unlawful restraint. Our John Paul Barajas joins us live from ongoing search efforts that are taking place near the Simpson home. John Paul, a lot has happened since Sunday when she was last seen. What's new today, and what have police said has been happening since Sunday night?
Well, we just got an update on her husband, Brad Simpson. He is currently still in jail, and his bail or his bond has been increased to $1 million per charge. So he's now facing a $2 million bond to get out. Again, he is still in jail. Here, Olmos Park Police, as well as Texas Rangers and Texas DPS, along with search crews, have been combing through this wooded area off East Olmos and East Contour. We are told they have found a couple things of interest, but don't want to disclose what those things were just yet because they want to confirm that they are connected to the case first. As for a timeline on what we know, Suzanne Clark Simpson was last seen Sunday night with her husband Brad at a party at the Argyle, a private club in Alamo Heights. Police say there might have been an altercation at the party they were attending and then another when they got back home.
Facts seem to indicate that it was possible that it got physical and there was an altercation. Here in Olmos Park later on, the evidence that was obtained by us and some other eyewitnesses seemed to indicate that it got physical here in Olmos Park.
Olmos Park Police Chief Fidel Villegas adds neighbors also claim they saw the couple walking away from their home late Sunday and then heard screaming in the woods that crews are now searching. Her husband, Brad Simpson, didn't report his wife missing until the following day, Monday, and told police Suzanne's phone was missing as well. According to an arrest affidavit, the next day, a school official where the Simpson children attend told police that one of the Simpsons children told staff her parents were fighting and that her dad had assaulted her mom and took her phone away. The child also noted Suzanne had bruising on her arm. The affidavit also states Brad became uncooperative in the investigation and did not show up for a follow-up interview, and at one point went to his ranch in Kendall County to, quote, separate himself from his family, end quote. And as you mentioned, Brad Simpson was later arrested and booked into the Kendall County Jail. Police are now asking anyone who has seen the husband's pickup truck, a black 2019 GMC AT4 pickup with a license plate of MWD 7050, to call them. They're trying to figure out if it was taken to any unusual locations. Out here, we're still waiting to see if police will for the first time go inside the Simpson home to investigate. We'll keep you posted on anything we find. Steve, Myra.
Yeah, thank you, John Paul. That search, as we said, continuing. We want to give you some phone numbers, though, if you can help investigators, anything that can help. Those numbers on your screen right now. You can see a couple of the detectives, Olmos Park Dispatch. All of these numbers are on KSAT.com. If you have any information on this case, Olmos Park Police want you to call them.
San Antonio's Public Housing Authority is grappling with some safety concerns after a grisly week. The bodies of 2 men, Nick Martinez and Donnell Sterling, were discovered within days of each other at the same Opportunity Home property downtown on Barrera Street last week. Police have since arrested a man in one of those murders, and they suspect he could be involved in the other one, too. But Garrett Berger tells us the conversation about safety in public housing is not over.
After 2 murders were discovered last week at Victoria Plaza, it was no surprise how Opportunity's home Wednesday board meeting started.
I don't know how y'all gonna do it or where the money's gonna come from, but I'm asking y'all to make an effort to keep the residents safe.
The safety and security of all our residents is a top priority.
Opportunity Home has said it's looking at increasing Victoria Plaza's on-site security, which currently included LED lighting, cameras, key fob entries, and security patrols.
There's security on site today, but it's not clear how long they'll be here.
The Housing Authority's director of security was vague about what may change in the wake of the murders. He talked about mental health issues and risky behavior and the need for collaboration with residents, such as them telling staff when people are letting others into the building. He did indicate residents would have a voice in the process.
It's not just about posting. Right now we have security on site. Is that sustainable? No, it is not. Is it going to be applicable for us to maintain that level of security with a different format? That's what we're looking at. So it's not just Victoria Plaza, but we're looking at all of the portfolios.
A Victoria Plaza resident wasn't keen on the idea that residents needed to do more.
They want us to do their job. Now, just like they tell us we've been complaining about these problems, and they want us to take pictures of people and do this. Now, we go up trying to take a picture of somebody, now somebody done shot us because we trying to take a picture of them to get to the office. How that sound? I'm not about to do that.
Ibarra says even before the murders, the acting CEO had authorized him to explore on-site security. He did not have a cost estimate to share, though. Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
36-year-old Heather Rodriguez facing more charges in a dog attack that left a 1-year-old boy dead earlier this week. Bexar County deputies have charged her with injury to a child, reckless bodily injury, and endangering a child, imminent danger, causing bodily injury. Rodriguez arrested and charged with 1-year-old Jariah Johnson's death on Monday. Deputies say she was babysitting Johnson at her home when she left the baby and her 13-year-old daughter alone at the house. After she left, her 2 pit bulls broke through a door and attacked that baby and her daughter. BCSO says the new charges were brought in because Rodriguez left her daughter and the baby alone at that house. Dog attacks, a persistent problem in our community. We have actually covered 13 since the start of last year, 3 of them deadly. It begs the question, what are our local leaders doing to fix a problem that keeps happening? It's against state law to ban dog breeds altogether, but City Council has passed local ordinances that go against state law in the past. So we talked to Councilwoman Melissa Cabello-Haverda about the chance that something changes following yesterday's attack. Here's what the councilwoman said.
Is this an instance where perhaps you guys take on the state challenge and say, we're going to enact an ordinance that bans pit bulls or bans specific breeds?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. Some could do that. That's always an option. And we have taken stands on other issues and we've been successful. This is just not something that I believe that the community has asked me to take up and that I would take up.
The councilwoman added that city leaders are pushing for more funding for pet owner education and ACS to increase public safety. Another option requiring spaying and neutering for certain breeds. Cabello-Haverda says she would support that as well. Same problem, but a different attack. You may remember 81-year-old Ramon Najera was mauled to death by 2 dogs that had owners back in February of 2023. Those dog owners, Christian Moreno and Abilene Schneider, were each sentenced last month in that tragedy. Today, the couple appealed their case, and a judgment the presiding judge made during the pretrial process is the basis for that appeal. They are not permitted to appeal their sentences, though, because they pleaded guilty.
Let's take a look at traffic during the 6 o'clock commute. We're going to take you here to Highway 90 at Military Drive. You can see the westbound lanes slow going, not too stacked up at this hour, but definitely creeping along. Highway 90 at Military Drive. Eastbound lanes, though, look just fine.
Almost did it today. Almost. 1 degree shy of the record. Yesterday we actually exceeded the record, set a new one. Today we're 1 degree shy at 93, the average high being 85. Tomorrow we'll make it to 95 in San Antonio, 96 Stinson, Hondo 95, Bulverde about 93, the high temperature. Notice we do trend downward a little bit in terms of our afternoon highs, lower 90s this weekend and near 90 as we get into next week with the hope of noticeably cooler mornings. We'll get into that and Milton in just a bit.
All right, thanks, Adam. Another story we have been following for nearly a week now. A man's body that was found off of a north side trail has still yet to be identified by the Bexar County Medical Examiner. On Saturday, KSAT reported that man's concealed body was found on a golf cart near the Walker Ranch Park off of West Avenue. The man's believed to be in his 20s, and police say foul play could be involved here. This is the second body found off of a San Antonio trail in a span of days. Late last month, we reported that a woman, 63-year-old Stacy Dramiga, was found dead just off of an east side trail. Police are still looking for a suspect in that death, too. Those discoveries prompted KSAT to ask what's being done to keep walkers and runners, anyone on local trails, safe. We got a ride along with San Antonio Park Police to find out. You can find out more about their day-to-day operations and what they're doing in the wake of these recent incidents. You can watch this story anytime on our website at ksat.com.
A fast-burning fire damages not one but two homes on Kissing Oak Street this morning. Several fire crews responding to that home just before noon. They found flames shooting through the roof of that northeast side home. Fire crews told KSAT the flames actually jumped to the house next door. And at one point, the original fire got so intense, crews had to rush out of that burning building.
Fire burned through the roof and forced our crews to come back, knock it down, and then go back in.
Took 30 minutes to get both of those fires under control. It's believed the initial house where the fire started could be a total loss. Firefighters say the other home that caught fire looks repairable. The cause of that fire still under investigation at this hour.
How did it go from a live flower corsage that you wore and kind of threw away a couple days later or that night to what we have in Texas? Because Texas did something different than everybody else.
And we're going to talk about that something different. It is time to talk mums. This Texas tradition takes the spotlight during homecoming season. But how did they become this over-the-top creation that we know mums to be today? Plus, have you heard of Stanley mums? How about Croc mums? They're a thing. It's all in a KSAT Explains, and it's coming up at 6:30.
San Antonio high school students' fate in the hands of a jury tonight. A verdict is in. The teen's charged with killing a classmate last year. We're going to go inside the courtroom and tell you about that verdict next on the news at 6.
Plus, a live look at the Florida coast as Hurricane Milton gets closer to making landfall. We'll be right back.
The family of a man shot and killed by a Bexar County deputy is speaking out tonight on the Night Beat.
After 4 hours of deliberating, a jury has found a former John Jay High School student not guilty of murder and the shooting death of one of his classmates.
Jesus San Miguel was, however, found guilty of criminally negligent homicide when he killed his friend during a lunch break last year. Erica Hernandez breaks down closing arguments and the lesser charge that the jury ultimately went with.
In the blink of an eye, in 1 second, lives change.
That quick moment led to Joshua Kinnaman dying from a stab wound and his friend and classmate Jesus San Miguel being charged with murder. The fight taking place at a restaurant last April across the street from John Jay High School. After 3 days of trial, closing arguments taking place this afternoon. The defense saying San Miguel, one of the top students in his class, never wanted to fight Kinnaman and wasn't the aggressor.
He doesn't take the knife out and run at you. He takes the knife out and he walks backwards. Who instigated the contact? Who wasn't walking away? Joshua.
The state, though, saying this was a murder, and San Miguel took his knife to a fist fight and said he didn't fear for his life, which rules out the self-defense claim.
You can't escalate. You can't. And that's exactly what Jesus San Miguel did in this case. He agreed to engage in a fist fight. He went out there to have a schoolyard fist fight, and he unlawfully escalated that fight.
Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Again, Jesus San Miguel found not guilty of murder, but guilty of criminally negligent homicide.
The punishment phase begins tomorrow morning. His punishment ranges from probation to 2 years in jail. Hurricane Milton causing nothing short of mayhem in Central Florida. This is a live picture, live video. Tornadoes have touched down throughout the state of Florida. Heavy rainfall, winds whipping the Florida peninsula. The National Hurricane Center is still tracking where the center of the Category 3 hurricane will actually make landfall, saying the storm's path has wobbled in the hours leading to hitting the coast.
The Hurricane Center added the entire Tampa Bay region and the cities south of that are at grave risk. You can follow along and track Hurricane Milton live right now on KSAT.com. We here in the studio, we're talking, Adam, about landfall. What exactly does that mean? We know we're looking at the hours ahead, but what does it mean when a hurricane actually makes landfall?
The center of the eye hits land. That's when we actually have landfall. But, we talk about landfall, but these are prolonged events, many hours, usually a solid day or so is what people are experiencing conditions. It's the worst of it is around landfall when you have the eye wall crossing overhead, and even sometimes past the eye wall when you still have onshore winds that are high and pushing the surge on land. There's just so many factors that come into it, and all the way down to the exact orientation of the coastline and how the winds are either parallel or perpendicular to the coast. Now, here's the latest on Milton. This is the 6 p.m. update. Winds 120 miles per hour. That's the max sustained winds in one part of the eye wall. That's not in a broad area around it. There will be some higher gusts, of course. Moving to the northeast at 15 miles per hour. That's a decent speed. We'd love for it to be faster because then it would decrease the impacts a little bit. Whereas you think a few years ago to Hurricane Ian, the monster Cat 4 that made landfall near Fort Myers, that was moving at under 10 miles per hour, one of the reasons why it was so destructive. You look at the highest wind gusts so far. Sarasota gusting to 77. Venice gusting up to 74. Fort Myers at the airport, which is inland, gusting to 55 miles per hour. Biggest issue with these storms is water and storm surge. The rising of the sea and pushing it onto land. The stronger the storm, the more water gets pushed onto land. This has been a big, strong storm. I know it's not as strong as it was before, but remember, we categorize these by wind speed. So even though it's a category 3, the actual storm surge could be that of, say, a category 4 to category 5 for some neighborhoods. So you have to separate the two in your head a little bit because this was a 5 and it's lifted a lot of water and is pushing it inland. And you see what I talk about with the wind perpendicular to the coast? That's when you have the worst surge in your area. Whereas, say, north of Tampa, they'll have the offshore flow later tonight. Not as much of a surge, and even a negative surge when you really have the offshore flow. But anyway, 9 to 13 feet from Sarasota all the way down to about Captiva Island, and then 8 to 12 feet for the Sanibel area all the way down towards Naples. And that's the worst case scenario, basically, of the water level above ground, how high it could be above ground for some of those communities there. Even inland a few miles, depending on the topography and the angle of those winds and water moving in. Here's the official path from the Hurricane Center. Still a Cat 1 over land late tonight, early tomorrow morning, and then it's out over the Atlantic as a tropical storm as it heads toward Bermuda. So this is only going to affect the Florida Peninsula in terms of the U.S. It then moves eastward. Sometimes these will hit Florida, then somewhere else, or vice versa. But that's not the case here. Take a look at our morning low temperature trend. 63 tomorrow morning, another nice start to the day. Low to mid 60s through the weekend, near 60 for morning lows later next week, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. There's a potential we could even be in the upper 50s. There's a chance. We don't have the really cool air across the lower 48 yet. You look up into northern Canada, temperatures in the 30s. Some of that cooler air will eventually work its way southward next week. Question is, will it clip Texas? There's some indications it will and won't, so it's just one of those wait and see, but it's definitely going to drop into the eastern U.S. Let's pray and definitely cross our fingers for that. And I do want to point out really quickly that, it's going to be quiet around here, a lot of sunshine. Mornings near 60 next week, afternoons near 90. We have a coronal mass ejection to talk about, a CME. I've been digging into this one. Fascinating stuff. We'll get to that coming up at 6:45. And what it means, how far south the aurora can go and be visible. Anyway, right now, nothing but sunshine. Boring, if you ask me. Sky up right now. But,
You got something exciting coming up
Yep.
at 6:45.
Yeah.
Thank you, Adam.
All right, let's go live now to the Frost Bank Center. The Orlando Magic in town, and we said at 5 o'clock they're going to be in town for a while because of what's hitting Florida. Mary.
Yep, they're instead of departing tomorrow, they'll be here through Friday. But as for tonight, excitement as the Spurs plan to debut Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama. But one player who will not be playing, Devin Vassell. We go one-on-one with him right after the break.
To all
all that are in Florida. We're thinking of you. You're in our prayers, sending a lot of love and good energy your way. And you guys are in our thoughts.
The Orlando Magic arrived in San Antonio yesterday. That was Jalen Suggs sending love to the people of Florida before Hurricane Milton's landfall. Good evening, everyone. We are coming to you live inside of Frost Bank Center ahead of the Spurs' second preseason game against the Orlando Magic. And as we talked about earlier in this show, Orlando will be playing with a little bit more on their mind tonight than just basketball as their home state prepares for Hurricane Milton. And instead of leaving tomorrow, they will be staying in San Antonio through Friday. As for tonight, San Antonio will debut a couple of highly anticipated players. Chris Paul and Victor Wembanyama are suiting up tonight after sitting out of Monday's preseason opener. However, Spurs star guard Devin Vassell remains on the inactive list, and it'll stay that way. The fifth-year guard is sidelined until at least November 1st. Vassell was shut down late last season with a stress fracture in his right foot, and the healing process didn't go as planned. We sat down with the former first-round pick on Media Day to see how he's doing.
I'm close. I'm close to returning. November 1st was just a date we threw out there to say that we're going to get reassessed, but trust me, we're super close.
The mental hurdle you go through in a position where you're expecting to play and get integrated in a lineup that involves Victor Wembanyama, CP3, and so forth, to now being set back.
I'm working every day to get back, and as soon as I can get back, and as soon as I know that my foot is good and I'm 100% healthy, I will be back on that court. We have some great players on our team who can come in and step up.
Castle! Oh! Castle!
I'm actually excited for them to see how they step up in that role.
Plan expectations seem to be kind of the consensus amongst the outside world national media for you guys. What are your guys' expectations?
Playoffs. I just want to get to the playoffs, and then from there, just as soon as we get to the playoffs, I promise you, we have a chance to compete with everybody. So that's all we need first, is just to get in.
We appreciate Vassell for taking the time to chat with KSAT 12. Now, tip-off is at 7 o'clock here inside Frost Bank Center. We'll have highlights and post-game reaction tonight on the Night Beat. The fans are starting to trickle in here inside Frost Bank. I'll step aside so you can look at Victor Wembanyama warming up behind me. And hey, again, tune in tonight for highlights and post-game from tonight's game. We'll also have the latest on Texans' Nico Collins, who has been placed on the injured reserve. Back to you guys in the studio.
You know, Mary, I was about to say it was nice of Chris Paul to warm up behind you on Monday. Now you got Wemby warming up behind you on Wednesday. I mean, these guys are very accommodating when you're out there. It's nice.
Oh, yeah. It's awesome.
The plan.
Thank you, Mary. Coming up next, KSAT explains homecoming moms, that Texas tradition. What would homecoming in Texas be without mums?
Yeah, students in other states wear them this time of year, but Texas does it different.
Yes, we do. In this case, KSAT explains, we found out how this tradition got started.
'Tis the season, not fall, not football, mum season.
My mom said, go big or go home, I guess.
And big they are.
I want to say like 7 pounds.
Bows, braids, bling, and more give a mum its meaning.
NHS member, track, student council pride and patriotism chair, Spanish Honor Society, and senior class president. My favorite part of the mom is that my mom made it for me.
This big tradition may just be a big metaphor for the oh-so-big reputation of Texas.
Big hearts, big love, big football, big community, big family, big. I'm Amy Schultz, and I'm the author of Momentous.
Momentous, a book about the origin and evolution of Texas homecoming moms.
Around the turn of the century in the 1900s, chrysanthemums were popular. They were kind of haute couture.
And they bloom in the fall. Guess what else was blooming around the turn of the century? American football. The first high school football game played in Texas was in Galveston in 1884.
But, you know, it was still kind of rough and tumble. And so what were schools to do to bring people to games? Well, so one idea was to create the concept of a homecoming.
The University of Missouri gets credited with the first homecoming mums, live chrysanthemum flowers with a few ribbons given to a homecoming date. So how did we go from that to this?
Because Texas did something different than everybody else.
After World War II, there was a baby boom in the 1950s. Then in the 60s, a population boom with more people moving to Texas. High schools were being built fast, and florists couldn't keep up.
So customization was already happening by the 60s. But florists were like, oh my gosh, these are live flowers. We can't make them weeks and weeks in advance. So the idea of introducing artificial flowers started floating around.
Florists helped convince people that a homecoming mom could be a keepsake, not just something that would wilt and wind up in the trash.
And once you start believing that a homecoming mom is a keepsake that can reflect the individual who wears it, moms get involved.
And DIY they did. In the 1970s, a recession hit. Big bucks for a big mom wasn't affordable, so moms started mum making.
Michael's opened first store in Dallas in 1977. Hobby Lobby opened its first store the year before in Oklahoma City. And so suddenly all of these homecoming mom supplies came whooshing into the market through North Texas.
This is my showstopper this week. My name is Ronnie Wiggins. The name of my company is Spirited Mums by a Spirited Mom.
How did you get into mum making?
Because we were on a tight budget when I was in high school.
Ronnie makes custom mums out of her own home. Garters, too, for the guys or the girls, all created in a room full of ribbons.
This boa I call my standout boa.
Floor-to-ceiling feathers and flowers, and an arsenal of glue guns.
On average, how long would you say it takes you to make one mum?
It's probably between 6 to 8 hours. Because I make all the braids, I have to do the crown, I have to put everything together.
She makes about 70 to 80 mums a year.
There have been many nights that I have forgotten to go to bed. I have forgotten to eat.
Ronnie's busy season is August to November, but even in her off season, she's prepping for next year.
So I have hangers of braids over there for different schools.
There are even mum maker retreats.
We have discussions about marketing, social media, trends, the Pantone color of the year, because that sometimes determines what colors we're going to see in mums.
That's right, mums aren't just about school colors anymore, and they're not just for a homecoming date.
I've seen girls wear garters. Why not, right?
They're a reflection of the person wearing it.
There's a lot of personal storytelling that is going on in the mom, and especially the senior year. I've seen quite a few moms that tell the story of what that student's going to do after graduation.
People always talk about the rules for moms. Oh, it can only be from your date. Oh, it can only have this. Oh, it can only be school colors. And I always tell people there's no rules for moms. There's no rules. People have come to me and said, I want a Hello Kitty on a mum, and I want you to build the mum around that.
Then there are mum trends, and just like in fashion, they're always changing.
What are the trends right now this year?
Right now, we're still looking at croc mums, where people are doing the little mums that go inside of the croc shoe. So they're putting it like a little 1-inch flower, and they decorate it and they put it inside the croc.
I have never in my life heard of this.
The mum earrings, where people are actually making earrings that match the mum that the girl is wearing. And then, of course, the big one is the Stanley mum.
Stanley mums, a mum accessory for the insanely popular mug.
Let's make a Stanley mum.
It's blown up on social media, which is where mum trends spread these days.
Fitting about 6 inches, or however tall your Stanley mum is.
And this is a mum that goes on the Stanley.
This is a mum that goes on the Stanley.
Even though these tiny mums get big likes, Ronnie doesn't sell them.
Usually there's a cost associated with it, and it's a lot of work.
Ta-da! Stanley mum! I'll have to put this on my knockoff Stanley.
Very cute.
Speaking of cost, mums can get pricey. It all depends on what the customer wants.
$35 is where you start with garters, and as far as going up to mums, you can go up to probably about $600-700.
$600 to $700. How about that one with the boas on it?
That one is $400.
Prices can get high, but apparently so can mums themselves. A few stories in some cases.
Last year, I was able to find 13 schools across the state of Texas that made mums that were at least 18 feet tall.
Whether you order or DIY, go big or go small, mums are what you make them.
I love doing this. I really do.
And it's who's wearing them that counts most.
Mums are a love story, and I've never found any reason to think otherwise.
Out of control.
Can you believe?
Mom, an 18-story high mom.
18 feet tall, some are 2 stories, $600 to $700
All right,
in some
18
cases.
feet.
18
Okay, got
feet
it.
tall. They're team mums. People are, kind of like a homecoming float.
Sure. Yeah.
Back in the day, now people are making team mums for their schools. And I just want to say, we asked people to send in their mom photos through KSAT Connect. So a big chunk of this story would not have been possible or nearly as cool had we not had those photos. So thank you so much for sharing those with me. So I'm going to share mine with you.
Oh, yeah, here we go. Yes!
Here we go. Ronald Reagan High School, I think junior year.
Oh my gosh, I love
during
it.
an unnamed specific year. My mom.
Yeah.
There you go.
It's the Myra mom.
It's the Myra mom.
Oh, you had Fiesta hair back then, too.
I did. I had nothing but Fiesta hair
that's
back
great.
then. Yep. So,
Are,
Strike 'em Rattlers.
It is.
Are any of them real flowers still?
No.
Okay, none of them. Like none.
None that are like that.
Okay.
I mean, maybe people are still doing corsages for,
Well, yeah,
dances and
sure,
things
that's
like
different.
that.
Yeah, you don't have to make
But
that
that
in advance.
Is a Stanley mom is it a high school thing? Is that what a Stanley mom is, or is it anything? Or can you make a Yeti mom?
I think the Stanley is a high school thing.
Okay.
I'm sure you
All
can
right.
make a Yeti mom. Mine, as I said, was on my knockoff Stanley. So
Yetis are
it's
so
a
like
mug mom.
2017, Steve. Come on. It's all about the Stanley Cup now, apparently.
I know.
Yeah. You and I think of something different when we hear Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
Something
I'm
you
old-
lift,
I'm
you
old
hoist.
school.
Yes, exactly.
That would be a big mom.
Yeah, I wonder if there was controversy when they switched and we're talking, hey, we can't do real I bet it was a big deal.
Our
People
author we interviewed, she said it took a while for people to get on board with, wearing a fake flower? You kidding? Well, now they're 18 feet tall flowers.
I'm very glad my daughters never got into the mom thing because, especially when I heard the price tag.
Oof.
$400 to $600? Yeah.
And it's all relative, because I look back now and I'm like, man, mine was simple.
Yeah.
But I thought it was very fancy back in the day.
Well, befitting a Myra mom. We'll be right back. Home stretch is here, less than 1 month out from the election. Both campaigns barnstorming the battleground state of Arizona, where in-person early voting has started.
This all happening as President Joe Biden, Vice President Kamala Harris, they are continuing to deal with severe weather happening right now in Florida. ABC's Jay O'Brien with the race for the White House.
27 days out from Election Day, the battleground state of Arizona starting early in-person voting. Both campaigns sending their vice presidential candidates to blitz the key swing state. Senator J.D. Vance in Tucson.
It is so great to be in beautiful Tucson, Arizona.
And in the same city, the son of Senator John McCain, an Arizona legend bashed by former President Donald Trump, campaigning beside Minnesota Governor Tim Walz. Meantime, former President Trump on the trail Wednesday in President Biden's hometown, Scranton, in the must-win state of Pennsylvania.
Just 27 days from now, we are going to win Pennsylvania. We are going to defeat Lion Kamala Harris.
And Vice President Harris attending a FEMA briefing with the president as Hurricane Milton takes aim at Florida.
This one's going to be different. And so we ask you that by every measure, understand it's going to be more dangerous, more deadly, and more catastrophic.
Biden criticizing Trump for communicating misinformation about recovery from Hurricane Helene, including claiming FEMA was capping payments to storm victims and falsely saying the agency used money for hurricane relief on programs for migrants. That program is funded separately.
It's undermining confidence in the incredible rescue and recovery work that has already been taken and will continue to be taken. And it's harmful to those who need help the most.
In a Wall Street Journal op-ed, Trump's running mate J.D. Vance claiming without evidence the administration's hurricane response was mismanaged, arguing that caring for migrants pulled away FEMA's, quote, attention and focus, something officials have denied.
Meantime, in North Carolina, a battleground state still reeling from Hurricane Helene, elections officials there have expanded when voters can pick up mail-in ballots and also where they can drop them off. In Washington, Jay O'Brien, ABC News.
Look outside with live cam. We've been talking a lot about Florida because things kind of all quiet here at home, Adam.
Yeah, quiet around here, and being a somewhat coastal area here in San Antonio, and a lot of interests along our coast. We like to keep an eye on these hurricanes, and we think about the folks that are being affected by them. We know how that goes. 63 degrees tomorrow morning, another quiet day, great start to the day, 95 in the afternoon, wall-to-wall sunshine, mid-90s through Friday, low 90s this weekend. Could even be some upper 80s next week with the potential of some upper 50s in the mornings toward the end of next week. We'll talk about that, Milton, and the CME, coronal mass ejection.
We continue to keep an eye on Florida. We showed you Bradenton earlier in this newscast. This is Key West right now.
And you can see people are out there. Those waves are big. This hurricane, Adam has talked about how it's weakened a little bit, but in a storm this big, Adam, you've said it's a big storm. No matter the number attached to it, this is going to be significant.
And Key West not in the path of Milton.
No.
But it's still seeing some of the effects down there.
Well, you can get effects hundreds of miles away. I mean, they'll have about a 1 to 3 foot surge at most. I mean, not really that big of an impact to Key West, Florida. It's really the west coast from Tampa all the way down to Sanibel Island and Cape Coral, Port Charlotte area, Sarasota, that's getting hit the worst. And let's go to our radar. It's Category 3, the eye wall. The northern eye wall is now affecting Tampa, and that's where you see the northern end of the wall. It's really ragged in appearance. You don't have it enclosed on the south end because stronger winds aloft have basically intervened with this hurricane and weakened it some, and that helped shred apart some of that southern eye wall. But there's still some high winds around. It's just the worst of it's on the north end, but there's still a lot of onshore flow, and that's causing the water to rise here. Whenever the wind turns perpendicular to the coastline, then that's when the water really starts to rise. And the storm in general carries water inland just on its own. But you look at the highest wind gusts actually measured by surface anemometer, 77 miles per hour, Sarasota. And the peak storm surge potential, worst case scenario, could be 9 to 13 feet from Sarasota southward all the way down to Naples. So that's the biggest thing. And we'll know by late tonight and tomorrow morning just how bad the damage is. And keep in mind, it remains a hurricane as it crosses through the peninsula and on into Orlando. A coronal mass ejection, a CME. What we're looking at is the sun here, actually. And notice this burst. It plays really quickly, but watch this. You see that? That's plasma that's being shot out of the sun super, super, super fast, and basically ionized particles, protons and electrons. And because of the spherical nature of that coronal mass ejection that happened, we are likely to have it to affect Earth. And of course, I had my iPad all set up, ready to go. But I can tell you this, it's likely to affect Earth, and we could have the aurora as far south as northern Alabama, northern California tomorrow. We won't know until that basically magnetic cloud makes it within 1 million miles of Earth. And then we've got 15 to 30 minutes to know what kind of impact it would have and thereon. Space weather prediction is still very iffy. And of course, it could interact with some power grids. It's probably not going to be as bad as the one that we had last May. But nonetheless, it's something that we'll keep you updated on. It may make some news tomorrow. G4 is what the prediction is. G5 is the highest level. And this is likely to be a G4. Again, we'll know more once that hits the instrumentation out in space by tomorrow morning to tomorrow midday. We'll keep you updated because, hey, remember back in May, at least your camera instrumentation could see the aurora in parts of Texas. There is a potential for that. I don't think it's likely, but it is a possibility.
Good to know. Thank you, Adam.
The Buzz and a really big bear coming up.
The votes in this year's most important election have been cast, and Americans have decided the winner of the prestigious Fat Bear Week contest.
Look at him. Bear 128 Grazer, the winner after more than 1 million people voted in this year's contest, which Katmai National Park in Alaska has put on for a decade now. Officials there say they do this to boost awareness about the state's wild brown bears, not to embarrass the bears.
No, never.
For their girth.
It's a fat bear winner. Thanks for watching the news at 6.